our conversation of today, we are talking about sexual reproductive health. Earlier on, I told you we'll also be talking about contraception. And I have guests today here to guide us on what they do, the achievements they've made. They work with adolescents, teen moms, trying to get them back to school, motivating them, taking care of them, and showing them that being a mother, even as a teenager, is not the end of life. Karibuni sana. How are you? How are you feeling this morning?
I'm okay.
You're okay?
Yeah.
It feels good to be alive.
It is a blessing to be alive. Kindly introduce yourselves, Sheila and Margaret. Who is Sheila?
My name is Sheila Chepkiroi. By profession, I'm an epidemiologist and a biostatistician. Professionally, at the moment, I work for Organization of African Epidemiologist and a biostatistician.
For those of us who don't want to understand, kindly fill us in on what those
epidemiology basically is it's more of a research. It's basically, if you're an epidemiologist, you're a researcher. It's just we find out the determinants of diseases and the causes, the etiology, and tend to look at the preventive side more than the curative side. Yes. Yeah, so we have different type of epidemiologists. You can be a field epidemiologist, a clinical epidemiologist.
Oh.
Yeah, biostatistics is just statistics in biology, evidence-based research.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is Sheila.
Yes.
And who is Margaret?
My name is Margaret Akinyi Atieno. I am a gender officer at Organization of African Youth Kenya. In gender, we deal with issues of gender mainstreaming, gender equality, and I'm passionate about sexual reproductive health of adolescent and young people, ensuring that their well-being comes out strongly so that they grow to be better individuals in the future.
This far, today part of our conversation will be contraceptives. Considering the fact that you have worked with teenagers and adolescents, I'd like to pose a question. Do you think that adolescents or other teenagers should be introduced to contraceptives?
Well, if I can go first, what I know is that adolescents, most of them lack information regarding their sexual reproductive health. So first of all, they need to be given information regarding their reproductive health, whereby they'll be introduced to issues of contraception, issues of HIV, issues of gender-based violence, and how to prevent those issues. So when an adolescent is given that information regarding contraception, they're able to make informed decisions regarding contraception, in the sense that if I'm told that when you use let's say Implanon, because we have different forms of contraceptions. So there is Implanon, there is pills and emergency pills, and emergency pills should not be used by adolescents more than twice in a year.
They are actually
the adolescents generally they're not really supposed to be using contraceptions, in exception where they're sexually active and they want themselves, and that requires that they have an Ascent. If they work in a facility, they should be able to provide an Ascent, and then the parent provides a consent, in the sense that the child, the adolescent needs the contraception. So you see, those are some of the issues and the factors that really prevent adolescents from using contraception, especially when it comes to matters of consent and Ascent.
Exactly, because I don't see which mother will take their child to a doctor to get contraception, especially at teenage.
Yeah, some parents do, but you see, when the child has not assented, it also brings an issue to the health service provider. Yeah.
So what is the difference between assent and consent?
When we talk about assent, we are talking about a person who is
by law, by Kenyan law, under 18 is a child. So they need to agree that they want the contraceptive. That's an Ascent, because they are below 18 years.
Oh, Ascent is below 18.
Yes, but when it's a consent, it's someone who is above 18 years and they have the responsibility to make a decision. So yes, we need both an Ascent and a consent when dealing with teenagers and contraceptives. Yeah.
Which is your opinion? Do you think they should get contraception?
I do not particularly think they should get contraception. I think getting contraception is a very personal decision. I think they should be given knowledge, and that's where the problem is. Nobody wants to talk about sexual issues. People assume, even as we can say, as we grew up, we just like learned about it on our own, through our peers. Nobody really sat us down and told us, this is HIV, and this is how it happens. This is how teenage pregnancies happen. So it's the lack of conversation that is really needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Margaret, you've said you're very passionate. You said you're very passionate about sexual reproductive health, especially for teenagers. Yes. This far, how has your experience been trying to take care of these adolescents who are already teenage moms?
Some of the adolescents that we deal with, for example, yesterday we were in Mkuru kwa Jenga. So we try to provide them with the information, and we bring various facilitators in terms of entrepreneurship for those who don't want to go to school. And also we bring TVET personnel, people in charge, where they can do a course in which they would love to do.
Who is TVET?
Technical Vocational Educational Training Institutes. Yeah, so those who have given up on continuing with education, we motivate them to ensure that they go get the technical skills that are required for the job markets currently, so that they can be able to earn a living. Because as I said earlier, also GBV starts, gender-based violence starts when as a woman or a lady, you're not able to be economically empowered. So when you're dependent on a man, that is where GBV starts in, and then you'll be subjected. You'll be a subject to that person, because you continuously you continuously depend on them. Yeah, and also just having some form of economic empowerment gives you some bodily autonomy, where you can be able to use the contraceptives that we talk about, because our society is also patriarchal. So when you have the knowledge and the power, you'll be able to make that informed decisions. And if you're economically empowered, you'll also be able to make those critical decisions regarding your whole body. Yeah.
Sheila, do you run a foundation, or how are you able to take care of these adolescents and teenage moms?
So basically, this is a project that is running for a year. It is we are being funded by PMNCH, which is Partnership for Maternal, Neonatal and Child Health. So when we are funded, we get a group of young girls, especially in informal sectors, teenage moms. We are actually trying to get teenage fathers on board, which is a very difficult group to come across. Yes. So we just take them through mentorship, and then we have a lot of partners. We partner with like Masai Technical Institute. We have Dandora Greenlight, and we bring them on board. Like yesterday, having the second engagement, we were able to have people saying, I've started the application to Dandora Greenlight. I want to go back to school. I'm going to do mechanical engineering. I'm going to do beauty. And at the end of the day, we create a safe space for these mothers to talk about sexual health, gender-based violence, how they can economically empower themselves. And providing of this safe space, we ensure that the project is sustainable by ensuring it's in a youth center. That way, even without us, without the funding, these safe groups can continue. Yes.
You've mentioned that you're trying to bring teenage fathers aboard.
Yes.
Why is it difficult? How is that going?
It's going well. Like, I think we have 10 out of a group of 30 who are teenage fathers. So as for me, I think that's like around 25%,
yes.
which is a really good number, because we think that this conversation about sexuality cannot continue without men being involved.
Yes, that is
yes.
true. And are they responsive?
So far, yes, they are very responsive. They're also feeling like they've been left out for a while. Nobody's talking about the boy child. Nobody's really saying what is happening with the boy child. Why is there gender-based violence? Why are there suicides? Where there are rape cases? So it's been responsive so far, and we hope to get quite a number by the end of the year.
Margaret, this brings me to the why question. Why do you want to take care of these adolescents? Why do you want to take care of these teenage moms? Why?
We are taking care of them so that they become a better individual and make positive contribution to the society, in the sense that if an adolescent leaves school at Form 3, they can be able to go back to the school and achieve that dream that they had, rather than not having somebody to support them. So we support them with information, and we also support them through linking them with a technical institution, and also encouraging them to venture into online entrepreneurship, where they can earn some living, because we know the world is going digital, and the marketplace is nowadays online. So we try to motivate them by offering that mentorship, holding their hands. You know, when somebody holds your hand, they act as a mentor, they act as a coach, and you'll be able to reach that dream faster.
Sheila, I'm so sure that these young girls and these young men, these young moms, these teen moms, sometimes they may feel like life has come to an end because now they are moms. What happens to their life afterwards? Is there anything that you're doing to take care of their mental health?
Yes, definitely. Even yesterday's session, we had a session on mental health, because, as I said, we work with partners, and we work with one organization called UTENA that deals with mental health. So whenever we go into an engagement, we make sure, as much as we talk about all those other things, we also talk about mental health, and also give referrals of where, if you're feeling very overwhelmed, stressed, and you feel like you just can't go on, where do you go? Who do you call? So we offer those services.
So, for example, if I can add on to what she's saying, there are online platforms which provide psychological counseling. For example, the 1190 number from LVCT Health, it offers individuals psychological counseling on matters mental health and also reproductive health for the young people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now, considering you're working with teenagers, I'm sure their parents are there. How do you deal with their parents? Because most of them may have been disowned. Do you have such cases?
Yeah. For example, earlier last year, there was a girl who got pregnant in Nakuru, and then she came to Nairobi, and the parents chased her away. And then one of the CHVs who is in Mukuru.
Who is a CHOV?
CHV is Community Health Volunteer.
Okay.
She adopted her and took care of her until she gave birth, and now she's been able to go back to school. And then ours was just to provide information to her, encouraging her, despite all that has happened, there's still life after pregnancy.
Yes.
So right now, she's taking care of the baby, and she's also going back to school. So you see, that is something positive.
That is a success story.
Yeah, it's a success story.
But what
for
happens to their parents? No, all that is one success story. But what about these other parents? Do you get to meet them? Do you get to deal with them? Do you get to mingle with them?
Yeah, we mingle with the parents. We at times, some of the parents do call me and they do tell us that the information that we give our child is really motivating, and we can see the change in it. So in as much as we are engaging the adolescents, we know that the parents are also the key stakeholders in these issues.
Yeah.
So we also engage the parents, and at times we do have sessions where there are parents only to just talk about the issues of sexual reproductive health, because if we want to move as a country, we all need to bring all the stakeholders, including the policymakers, the parents, and faith-based organizations, because I can say that there are some oppositions to sexual reproductive health, whereby when we as people of interest who know
like
that...
Which ones?
Like, for example, I would say that some of the faith-based religious institutions, when we like, there's been a bone of contentions when it comes to comprehensive sexuality education. So for them, comprehensive sexuality education is about teaching the children issues to do with gayism, issues to do with the lesbianism. Yet that is not the perspective that we look into. I remember last year we were advocating for the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Health to incorporate comprehensive sexuality education in school curriculum, where these children can be able to learn about matters reproductive health as early as possible, in the sense that even if I'm going to have sex, I know that I'm having safe sex as a young person, because I already have that information.
How young is young?
Maybe at 12, you know that there are some 12-year-olds that are having sex and are getting pregnant, you know. Statistics are out there that shows that a 12-year-old is doing KCP with a pregnancy. That person, when you ask them, why did you get pregnant, just to try and understand, they say, my mom does not talk to me, I don't have this information, and my peers, some of them who are older, told me that we go try. So you find that the person who is supposed to be giving you information, they are not giving you information right there.
And when you make a mistake,
now it becomes a blame game, and you are now left at the mercy of the world. Some of them are even chased away in the streets.
Sheila, yes, you had something to say?
Oh, I was talking about that controversial area about young children. People just don't want to talk about sexual health to them, but in reality, everybody knows, the statistics show there are young kids at 12 who are pregnant, and the fact that we don't want to talk about that, it's like people are casting a blind eye on that, and they don't really want to talk about that. If that child had knowledge on safe sex, that child had knowledge on HIV and AIDS, that child had knowledge on STI, I believe they would have made a better decision. Yes, it's important to put everything on the table, to say there is safe sex, there is HIV and AIDS, there is STI, there is also abstinence, because we put everything on the table, so that, you know, when someone has a lot of choices to choose from, they end up making a better decision.
Speaking of all these choices, help us understand, what is this exactly that you talk about in regards to sexual reproductive health to these children? What is the conversation exactly?
Basically, first of all, we look at the age. You know, there's how you frame your words according to age. And then we just talk about, you know, do you know, you first find out if a child knows about sex. Do you know sex? And they say yes or no. And you say, this is what happens when you have sex. You know,
allow me to ask. So you don't just deal with teenagers who are teenage moms, you deal even with those who've not gotten into it yet?
Yes. Because when you look at the teenage moms, that's where they were like 3 years ago.
True.
Or 4 years ago, and nobody gave them information. So for us to really actually curb teenage pregnancies, you have to go back to 3 years ago or 4 years ago and find out, okay, what age could this be, and then start the conversation from there. Find out what they know, find out if they know about HIV and AIDS, about STIs, about all that. Because at the end of the day, you find even a girl is having survival sex because they lack the basic needs. They don't have pads, they don't have probably water, they don't have food, and you find them, if someone is willing to offer them 100 shillings and they can buy pads, then
they'll take it.
Then they'll take it without that knowledge. So you can imagine a girl who is from a poor background and doesn't have knowledge about sex, about HIV and AIDS, about STIs, about safe sex, and then they find someone and they're willing to offer them 100 shillings, and they do not have maybe sanitary pads or food. They have not eaten the whole day. They don't have food for dinner. So we have to have
in because they have no choice.
Yes. Yes. So that's where we start the conversation. We talk about what do you know first, and then we talk about
from
other
the known
things.
into the unknown.
Yes. Yeah.
Margaret, earlier on, Sheila said that your project is running for a year, right?
Yeah.
So what happens to these teenagers after a year?
Because the project is running for a year, and that is why we've established a sustainable mechanisms working with the youth centers and linking them with the referral pathways where they can still continue to access information, and also link them with other partner organizations where they can still continue getting that information until the age that they will transit when they reach 25. So from our plan is to hold their hands, and when we get more funding, we'll have them on board until they are 25. So that way, after 25, somebody is a bit mature and they're able to make some decisions
by themselves.
Yeah.
So what is we've had the conversation of sexual reproductive health for the girls. So what about sexual reproductive health for the boys?
As we said, it's still a group that we are still really working on to bring them on board. And there was a time we were working in schools, and we were asking girls, do you think boys should know about menstrual health? And some girls were like, yes, they should, because you find that sometimes you're harassed because maybe you've
stay
missed. Yes. And others were like, no, that's none of their business. And we are still just trying to bring the men on board and be like, do you know, you this could be your sister, this could be your friend, without that feeling like they have to give you something in return. And we are really, really working on that. And that's why we are bringing the teenage fathers on board to tell them some things, like there was an issue about HPV. It causes cervical cancer.
Yes.
And men are carriers of HPV. And that's also a conversation that we are beginning. That, do you know that you are a carrier of HPV, and these are some of the things that you should do, and this is how you can protect you and your girlfriend and your partner. So the conversation is ongoing, it's just beginning, and we really hope to do a lot of work.
Do you think it's very, very important for this conversation to be so out there, Margaret?
Yeah, it's
to the boys.
Yeah,
yes,
it's very important, because the mentorship that we are doing in schools, we are involving equal number of boys and girls. So that way we are able to pass out the information in equality, so that even the boys are able to understand the girls' situation, and even the boys also go through those sexual reproductive health issues, in the sense that when they have sex, they're also bound to get HIV.
Yes.
Yeah. And some of the boys also go through gender-based violence. And in as much as they do not carry pregnancy, but you find them that some of them, they are sodomized. And when you give them information that when somebody touches behind you or touches you in a manner that is suggesting sexuality, it is wrong. So you give them that information, and they'll be able to make powerful decisions and maybe say, they have that power to their body. Yeah.
Sheila, now that you've given them information, they now know what way to take. What is this that you're doing to prevent them from getting pregnant every year? Because it's possible. It's possible. It's possible they are pregnant this year. When they are 15, they will get pregnant. When they are 16, they will get again when they are 17.
Yeah, so some of when a teenager gets pregnant, and then the transition mode is that they become emancipated minors, where they can be able to make some decisions regarding their health. So we encourage those who have gotten pregnant to go to the facility and request for contraception, their own method of the method of their choice, so that to prevent these occurrences from happening again, because it should be that the first mistake is a mistake, but the second one, it's because you
wanted to.
Yeah, you wanted to. So we encourage them to go get contraception where possible, and where possible they can abstain and go back to school and finish the school. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Now, speaking of teen moms still, talk to me about the Partnership for Maternal, Newborn and Child Health, Sheila. What is the Partnership for Maternal, Newborn and Child Health?
It's a branch of WHO, and usually we started a partnership with them in 2017, where we developed a toolkit for advocating for adolescent well-being, to train people on how to advocate for adolescent well-being. In 2019, we piloted this. This toolkit was made into the Kenyan context together with the Ministry of Health, and it was piloted the whole of 2019. In 2020, there was COVID, so we were not able to work. In 2021, then we started the journey for actually advocating for adolescent well-being. And PMNCH called for action. They have a call to action for adolescent well-being and a call to action to COVID-19. So, and the Kenyan government has committed. They have committed to 7 commitments. So we are just, what we are doing at the moment is a campaign called My Voice, My Story campaign, where we are collecting voices of adolescents. We just don't go to the stakeholders and to the government and say, this is what the adolescent wants, and we are not the adolescent. So we are collecting their voices, getting to know what is really the problem, what do you want to be done for you by the year 2030. It's actually a hashtag adolescent 2030. So that as we go to the government and as we just ask them, what are you doing on the call to action on adolescents and the call to action on COVID-19? How far are you when it comes to those 7 commitments you committed to? And as we go into the MTP4, because the MTP4 is being created, that is for till 2030, it will be out in July. We are just trying to put in what we have collected through My Voice, My Story. Like, this is what the adolescents wants to be done for them by the year 2030. So basically, that's the work PMSH and OAY, Organization of African Youth, is doing. Yeah.
And also to add on to that is that under that we have My Vote Kenya, where various youth organizations, youth individuals, youth leaders, we've collected some actionable issues on matters education, on matters economy, on matters policy and governance, participation and health, in which you want the government of Kenya, the politicians watching right now, to include those issues in their manifestos and ensure that the well-being of adolescents are well addressed when it comes to policy making, when it comes to Bill of Rights, when it comes to matters that are affecting the general well-being of adolescents. Like right now, the counties are are making the county integrated development plans. So we want those issues incorporated there, because when we are doing our advocacy work and those issues are not incorporated there, we are normally, when you go to a decision maker, they tell you, is that issue is in the CIDPs? Then you're told no. If it is no, then your issue will not be addressed. So we want to push this My Vote Kenya agenda to ensure that these issues are incorporated there, whereby when we go to advocate, we hold these policymakers accountable, that you committed to support teen moms to go to school, whether it is through online or physical trainings. So we hold them accountable on what they committed to doing. Yeah.
Sheila, I am curious. Yes. If this law is passed, whereby adolescents or teen moms are taken care of, do you think there will be a rise in cases of adolescent pregnancies? Because I will say, sini sawa tu, at the end of the day, the government will take care of me.
And I don't think so, because we are not only working with teenage mothers, we are working with adolescents, which is from 10 years to 19 years. And
a 19-year-old is an adolescent?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't end at 60?
No. Yes. So we are working with all this group of people, and we are trying to provide knowledge even before we provide support for those who are already pregnant. We are not just rushing into providing a solution. We are trying to provide knowledge from the word go, from the age 10. And it's not only, we are not only providing on matters sexual health, because we have 5 domains. We have 5 domains, which is health and well-being. We have positive values and contribution to the society. We have safety, which matters GBV. We have education, learning competence and skills. And then we have agency and resilience, where My Vote Kenya comes in. Leadership, manifestos, learning to look at the manifestos of people even before you vote. Yeah, and so we have these 5 domains, and we are providing our knowledge all around to the adolescents. So as we are not just trying to provide a solution for those who have already gone into the teenage motherhood phase. We are just providing information for everybody. So I don't think it will really
make it small.
Yeah. Yeah.
Margaret,
yes.
I'm sure there's a lot of stigma around teenage moms. Not just teenage moms, but even the teenage fathers. What is it that you're doing as an organization, or even in your project, to curb this particular stigma?
So to curb this particular stigma, we work with partnership, partners organization, where some of the organizations can provide information. And also we as Organization of African Youth, we also provide information. Like I said earlier.
To the community.
Yeah, to the community. And just to create awareness and public sensitization, so that these children, in as much as they have gotten pregnant, they should not be discriminated against. Because, they are still, at the end of the day, they are still our children, and we are the ones to take care of them. So it's really important that we work in partnership, and also continue to sensitize people around the issue of teenage pregnancy, and make people understand some of the root causes that cause teenage pregnancy. And then, for example, if it is from parental perspective, where a parent does not provide the basic needs of the child, you tell that parent, when you don't give your child a sanitary towel, they'll go out there and
to look for it themselves.
And then when they get pregnant, you now start blaming them. So you'd rather prevent. Prevention is better than cure. So you'd rather prevent that issue by making that parent aware, because even some parents, they don't have that information. So we work in an integrated manner, where we bring all the stakeholders involved, and we empower them with information. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like for instance, we not only work in Nairobi, we also work in Kisumu. For instance, in Kisumu, OAY is a part of the technical working group that against teenage pregnancies. And in this technical working group, you have all the stakeholders. We have the parents' representatives, we have the head teachers representatives, we have the county government of Kisumu, which is really supportive, and then we have OAY and other CSOs that are working for the same cause. And so these technical working groups comes together to just look at how can we end stigma around this, and how can we end teenage pregnancies in general. Yeah.
Speaking of, you said not just Nairobi and Kisumu. So where else are you based in the country?
For now, we have our offices in Nairobi and Kisumu, but we usually venture out into other counties. Like, for instance, the toolkit, the PMNCH toolkit, we launched it in Kilifi. So whenever we can, whenever our resources are enough, we go out into other counties that we feel like, according to the statistics, really need this kind of support. Yeah.
And also to add on to that, Sustainable Development Goals 17 of partnership requires us to work in a coordinated manner, whereby we as OAY, we cannot reach all the parts of Kenya, but there is an organization maybe in Mombasa or in Machakos or even in Narok that we can work together to ensure that we reach as many people as possible. So we uphold SDG number 17, where we work with a lot of partners to ensure that this information reaches as many people as possible.
Now, as we are about to wind up, I'm sure there's a teenage girl out there who has now watched you and feels like, I would really want to get to Margaret and Sheila. How would they get to you? How would they access you, Sheila? Or the organization, rather.
To access the organization, we have our website, which is oayouth.org. You can find us in our website. In our website, you'll find our contact information, our email, we have our Twitter, we have our Instagram, we have Facebook, and we have a phone number. All the details are there in our website. So we encourage all teenagers out there who need help, who need support, even if it means mentorship. You are stuck in life, you don't know,
just someone to talk to.
Yes, you just want maybe to go back to school and such as things, because even yesterday we were collecting names and teenagers who are really willing to go back to school, who are in our group, and Maasai Technical Institute will be reaching out to them in a few. So we are really excited for this journey, and we're urging any other teenager out there who is just feeling like it's time for change. They can contact Organization of African Youth on our website, OA Youth Kenya.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Margaret, talk to that teenage girl out there, talk to that teenage boy, talk to that teenager out there as we wind up.
To the teenagers hearing me, those who have already gotten pregnant and those who have not, I'll say information is power. Reach out to somebody who can give you positive information. And also, if you've gotten pregnant, all hope is not lost. And also, I'll say that if maybe by mistake you got HIV, you can live with the HIV. You can take your drugs religiously, and also just live like any other individuals. And if you are going through sexual and gender-based violence, ensure that you reach out to a counselor or a police station where you can be able to get help, so that that issue of GBV is addressed, because we know that the president committed to ending GBV by 2026. And we as individuals, we also have our own mandate of reporting those cases, so that the perpetrators of gender-based violence can be arrested and taken into account, so that we completely eliminate cases of GBV. And also, I'll say that creating awareness, like the other day, the border riders sexually harassed a lady.
Yes.
So we need to create awareness that even as women, we need to feel safe when we are walking out there. We need to be protected, and we need the laws to we need the laws
to be by our side,
by our side and protect us, so that we can walk confidently out there. And
that's it. Sheila, anything to say before you close?
Nothing much, just to encourage the teenagers out there, to tell them that they need to speak out. They shouldn't be afraid. When you have a problem, the only way you can be helped is by speaking out. Find any means possible, find any help wherever you are, and please speak out. That way you will receive help.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, if I can finish. So there is the website for My Vote Kenya, where those actions are.
Yes.
It is www.myvotekenya.org. So you can visit the website and understand those call to action. And if you're a politician, if you're an aspirant, we can work together to ensure that these issues are well addressed, so that for the betterment of our country and for the betterment of our people.
And our tomorrow.
Yes, and our tomorrow.
That was powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
And thank you for doing an amazing job taking care of the teenagers. You know, they say our future starts from down there, from the young people. Thank you so much for joining us. That has been our conversation on sexual and reproductive health. We will be coming back after a short break with our conversation on contraception. I asked you earlier, what do you think should take the bigger role when it comes to contraception? One man can impregnate 365 women in a year. One woman can get pregnant once a year. Before we close, actually, what are your thoughts?
That is very true, because the men, then they can impregnate.
They can get someone pregnant, a different
even
person
in a day. It can be even 5
2
or
5.
6.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So as a lady, so I think in as much as we are advocating for women to take contraception because they are the ones carrying pregnancy, even men should be involved in conversations around contraception, because some of the men hinder the ladies from taking contraception.
Yeah, because
also.
even when you look at things like menopause, men don't have menopause. These men can get you pregnant even at 95.
True, that is very true. So it's very important for us to create awareness regarding men also supporting their partners, and also participating in taking contraceptions like vasectomy. Yeah.
Yes. Your opinion?
I think we have to start speaking about male contraceptives.
Right?
Yes. I think that's the conversation that has to begin.
Aside from the condom, they should come up with something else.
Yes.
And they are already there, but they're not being embraced.
True. Yes. And it's a conversation that has to be actually started.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is...
And all this is brought about by socio-cultural practices where a man has all the powers, and it's high time that this power is distributed equally among men and women, so that we women can be able to make informed decisions and have that bodily autonomy regarding our reproductive health. Yeah.